Welcome back to the second entry of 2011, as I call it. Bear with me because this next one, is pretty dear to me. But I hope you guys like the first one. Just kind of reminiscent, of course, was family. Just kind of get personal with that one. This one, just gonna peel the layer back a little even more. Just kind of nervous and everything. It's probably gonna get me very, very emotional at some point in this entry. All because the fact is, it's just, again, like I said, it's just really dear to me. This is my purpose. My purpose in this world, the reason why I do things I do, the reason why I am the way I am, the reason, I push to be better, the reason I push to become better, the reason I breathe air, the reason I work, the reason I laugh, the reason I sleep, the reason I don't sleep at times, the reason I perspire, I push myself to be, to overcome any odds that are thrown my way. The purpose is the thing that literally all those things I just said in this world, that you know what I'm saying, that everything that you do for in this world, and there's no bigger being, thing, possession, whether it's tangible, like, you know what I'm saying, whether it's breathing, living, there's nothing more in this world that you should prioritize the most if it's not your kid. My kid is my purpose. If you haven't necessarily realized, based upon the pictures, based upon the song selection with the slides, based upon a written message, I think I even said it on the wrestling pod. Just what it's about. My purpose is Ryan Coles. If you guys haven't known, he's literally the the miniature me. So little splashes of his mom, but literally the me in which I've never got to see on the outside. But he's literally me. From the way he laughs, the way he cracks his little jokes, the caring for others, the love that he has, is me. And I'm gonna kind of tell y'all the journey that and why he shaped me, and he pushes me to be the best dad in the world. like and it's crazy. So, like, when people sit and say that, like, I do it for my kids, I do it, like, there are certain ones that really say it and mean it. Then you have those that, like, just say it just because the fact it's the right thing to do. It's like you can always, and it's not to bash them. And, like, I'm really holding back. Like, I'm not trying to get emotional now. It's just crazy. You really want to put yourself in certain notions to that your kids prove it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, your kids will be the biggest cheerleaders in your corner if you're doing right. They'll also be the biggest headaches if you're doing wrong. So they'll rat you out at any means if they feel as though, like, you're doing anything wrong. My son is literally that. Again, if y'all know me as far as being outspoken, being that person that trolls, being that person that says this, that is with the witty comments, the witty smart ass remarks, then you've met Rian. You've literally met my kid. Because my kid will do all that. He might not cuss, but he will definitely be smart and he remembers. He's sharp. My boy is sharp. Like, but let me just get into it. Life before Rye was a roller coaster. I was I was engaged to his mother for I think 2 years leading up to it. Um, Even aside from that, uh, 2019 was a hard year for me. One that actually kind of, it was gut check. Of course, when he was around, when he was announced, not even when he was announced. Let's just say that. I had about like 8 funerals I went to that year. Starting the top of the year with my grandmother shook up a lot. Granted, we knew at some point it was going to happen, but for her to be the first of the year of about eight was something you never thought you were going to go on a roller coaster like that. And it's part of the reason why I don't necessarily like funerals too much anymore. 2019, it burnt me out pretty good. Like it drained the shit out of me to a point where it's like I get flashbacks. Like I have lapses of being upset, of, what I mean, just those times. It's like, and I don't like to necessarily be in those scenarios, like as far as just with funerals, because it just sucks. Nobody wants to be in a funeral for no reason. I mean, life happens, but at the same time, you don't necessarily like life to end. And for life to end the way it did that year, it took its toll. It took its toll, and it was just so. Just to give you full on transparency, I went to my grandmother's funeral. I had a cousin that passed away on my dad's side. Well, it's kind of like my aunt, but she's technically like our cousin. I had a friend that passed away, like probably like March, which is pretty crazy. I want to say I had like two more funerals in the summer that were crazy. So we're like at five. Uh, then it's like in September, I lost my mom's mom. And if some of y'all know, she actually lived here. She lived with us at a point. Um, and then like a week later after that, I lost my uncle. So again, we're at seven, and none of them, again, none of them were, none of them were expected the way they happened. It is sucked to really have to witness those times, because in between all of that, I got married, and so that was there too, what I mean, to of course try to get stuff in motion and everything. Um, but of course during those times I had some dark ass thoughts, you know, like top of the year, first quarter was first, second quarter were probably hard the most because I had some dark thoughts in which, what I mean, wouldn't necessarily bring me here. Um, and in those times it's like you don't necessarily want to you don't want to think of suicide. You don't want to think about not being here. You just want pain and stuff to stop. You just want heartache to end. And that's literally where I was. I was having problems with my relationship at the time. And of course, like I was, trying to make things work. I had just moved in with her, like, so like we were still learning, and I'll talk about that a little later. But it was just like I was just that whole process of processing was so much, and it was just it had my thoughts in a chokehold. I was losing myself. I didn't know how to function. And like and it hurt because it's for the fact it's like you have somebody there who's your significant other, and it's just like I couldn't necessarily count on her as much as I should have, only because the fact is like I didn't know how she would handle it. I didn't know how to voice it without it coming off like I wanted somebody, like, like y'all. Again, if you know me, I don't like attention. You know what I mean? I'm loud and stuff like that, but I'm loud. You know what I mean? In playful ways. Like when it goes to serious stuff, I do not like attention. Like I do not like to be. I don't like people to worry about me. I'm always the one to care about everybody else. I'm always the one to help everybody else with their problems. I don't like you to help me with mine. I don't want you to know I have anything going on. I will shield it. I will hide it. Do my best. I will minimize it to help you out. Meanwhile, I could be struggling, and it doesn't help because when you try to be low and you try to hide stuff, it always comes out. And so, like I said, like just put yourself in that scenario with 7, 8 funerals, and you think about where what I mean. Like you start just questioning stuff. Like, and they say death runs in threes, but I never expected it to be doubled, damn near triple, and be a part of my life. Like, but it was, you know, um, it was. And so it's just like, when we found out she was pregnant September, like a week after we got the funeral, uh, that's when everything kind of seemed like it was kind of good. Like everything started kind of turning around a little bit better. Um, I started reevaluating my purpose of life because I no longer could live for myself anymore. I didn't feel right just doing it for me. Didn't feel right just doing it for his mom at the time. I started doing it for him because, as you know, like I said in the last episode, I didn't have my dad wasn't around as much as he should have been. And so I knew for a fact I had to be there for mine. And I didn't stop living. You know what I mean? Like I didn't give up. I didn't shy away from it. As much as it may have been stressful during those times, September brought forth a fresh of fresh air, hearing that life was being brought into the world, or life was expected to be brought into the world, scheduled. And so it was just amazing to kind of hear that with everything that went on that whole year. And to this day, I'll never forget that year because it was treacherous. Man. It was terrible. It was terrible. The only good thing that really brought everything like, and put everything in a gift wrap box was literally hearing that he was on the way. He was on the way. Granted, we didn't necessarily know where he was, but I wholeheartedly just knew I needed something to remind me of why I'm here. Something that wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, that I could cherish and hold forever. Because there were points in times that it really felt like it wasn't going to get there. That it wasn't going to work. You know what I mean? Whether we're talking with his mom, whether we're talking with myself. There were points in times where literally I wanted to give up. And then, we hear he's coming. So when his mom, and I'll give you a funny story about it. When his mom told me, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised because I knew what I did. And I'll say that to the end. I'll say that till I die. I knew exactly what I did. we we talked about it for years. We knew certain things that we had to put in place for it to happen. We didn't necessarily want a child out of wedlock and nothing like that. I'm not saying no offense to those that aren't married, that had their kids, nothing about that, but it's just like for facts, like we wanted to do it this way. And so we did that. So again, I'm out here making runs here, making runs there. I'm not necessarily, you know what I mean? Of course, I'm not doing things. I'm not wearing protection with you know what I mean, the woman that I was married to, because like no, there was no point. I was with her, not planning on being with her. We started a family, so that's what happens. We start a family. You know what I mean? So, yeah, she showed me the pregnancy test. I looked at it. Oh, okay. Wasn't surprised. If you ask his mom, she'll say I ruined it, because she wanted me to be psyched and everything like that. But I was again, we're talking about the time. I'm literally just appreciative of anything there. Like I'm not overzealous about it, but it's just appreciative of everything there. But the moment, that whole process, I was literally there. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm on it, even to the point where it's like, so we were in the apartment then, and then of course towards the end of the year we moved into the house. Well, we signed at least for the house, for sign the mortgage, and so that is when everything kind of changed, because we're talking 2019, and we know what happened in 20, good old COVID year. And that's another thing. It's like, well, I'll get into it a little later once we get to that part. But either way, it's like, yeah, COVID. We all knew what everybody was doing, shackled up in COVID. I'm saying when you were home in COVID, we knew what you were doing. I'm saying like, a lot of babies were born then, during 2020, and my son was definitely one of them. We all know what we was doing. We all know how we was getting down. We all know the excitement part. You know what I mean? And that's it's the beauty behind. It's the beauty of it all. It's like we all know like how shit happened, how shit went down. Um, but yeah, COVID shook up a lot of plans, as it did for everybody else. With COVID coming about, it shut the world down. It prevented, prevented those moments in which you would run out to the store late at night, or you could do, you know what I mean, just those things. That's what me and his mom used to do. We used to go to to Walmart's like midnight. You know what I'm saying? Everybody did that shit. And so we definitely wanted to experience and explore those times, but we just couldn't. Again, shit was closed like 3 o'clock. That, and then the fact that it was like nothing was on the road. But I still worked in the hospital, so I mean, like I said, the hospital, they're the refrigerators of the world, so they never close. They deal with those issues. And my floor, of course, it didn't deal with them as much, but we started to garner those issues into the unit. But yeah, it was definitely a big change, big pace change. She started working from home, so therefore she's indoors a lot. If you know certain conditions, or you know that of course she is more prone to, her autoimmune system is not, her immune system isn't the greatest, so there was that. But luckily, through ultrasounds and everything like that, through genetics and DNA, we found out Ryan was going to be fine. He was going to carry the certain traits, and that was a good thing to hear. Didn't necessarily have to worry about that too much, And so the only thing we really had to worry about was just high blood pressure and just make sure sickle cell didn't bother. I'm saying shout out to those who have sickle cell, who deal with it, who, luckily I didn't get the trait or anything like that, as it is in my family. It skipped me, so it means it skipped my son as well. It's pretty good, especially for the fact it's like, if you know that when you have sickle cell, it has its attacks at any moment. You just never know when. Those that have it know when it's going to happen, but of course, it's like there's not much that anybody on the outside can really do other than be there for whoever has it, their family member, their significant other, you know what I mean, so on and so forth. It's just that this is how it was. But so it's a funny story. So like Ryan wasn't his original name. Where did his name come from? It being spelled Rian. His name was originally going to be Royce. I stuck to it. I didn't want to change it. There was nothing bothering me. Why? Because it meant son of the king. So I wanted the name to have a strong meaning, and literally Royce was literally running through my mind heavy. Running through my mind very, very heavy. To the point where I was even writing on like post-it notes that I got one in my car, and like it just stayed there, and like because I'm naming my son this. And so yeah, I mean, of course, the unisex names you can use as a girls too, but either way, like we found it was a boy, and so there were those times, and so it was just literally, because my son was born in June, so I mean, like I'm skipping a good portion of COVID because of course it's like, what else can we do with that? You know what I mean? Like, so it's funny. So when he actually was born, I was going back to work because I had called out to have to get a procedure done, and it was like the day I came back, I actually left again because he was being born. Shout out to Christianity for finalizing giving parental leave, not just maternal leave. They gave parental leave that year, which made it so much easier for me to uh to take my time and to not be penalized for it. But yeah, either way, back to what I was saying, his name was going to be Royce, but his mom didn't necessarily like it too much. And so he was already going to be carrying my middle and my last name. My middle name being Christopher, his is going to be Christopher. Easy. Last name is going to be his last name. Easy. No doubt about it. And so it was like she was just thinking, so they were like, I think my mom helped out with this one. They were like, well, what are you naming Ryan? I'm like, okay, maybe. They ran it by his mom. His mom liked the idea, but then they thought to even tweak it and do it Rian. If you know, his mother's name is Brianna, so it's Briana. You see where it comes from. All right. But yeah, and so it was just crazy. Like we're in the hospital, and I would never know. And a lot of you can just attest to it and tell me if it's the case. But Is the epidural needed within the first 20 to an hour when you're there? Answer in the comments or anything. I'm not sure. But either way, so that's what happens. She's on bed rest. So on bed rest, we got there Thursday. I know y'all hear him too. We were there Thursday, and it's wound up going up until about Friday morning. So we're probably there about like 12 hours or so. It rained like hell that night. And I mean, it poured. I could have just swore he was going to come that day. We're talking about June 5th. I swore he was coming that day. You couldn't tell me he wasn't. The way it was storming, yeah. The way she was saying she's had contractions, yeah. I swore up and down he was going to be there. But, he held off until the morning of Friday. Friday morning, 3:05 in the morning. And you get a little hairball. It's crazy. Like I'll probably post a picture and everything, but he didn't cry. He didn't cry at all, which is kind of crazy because it's like, if you know him now, you know he'll shed a tear. But yeah, he came full term, came full size. 3:05 in the morning. Ryan Christopher. And boy, was he a beauty. He was a beautiful child. Still is. But yeah. But of course, it was just me and her there. Nobody else could be there. And the nerve-wracking thing about, again, during that time, and I'm not sure, maybe it's because of the fact she was high risk and everything, but he wasn't allowed to stay in the room with us unless one of us were out. Sucked. Again, your first child, and you can't have your first child in the room with you while you're in the hospital. Nerve-wracking. Oh man, that hurt. So we would take shifts as far as being up. I was a night owl. She was a morning dove. And so she would be up during the day for the most part. I would get up too, but either way, it was just how it worked. So we just tried our best to make sure he stayed there with us. If he didn't, they took him back up to the infirmary, and nobody wanted that. You know what I mean? Just wanted my kid next to us, wanted him around us the whole time. But yeah. And so, like I said, during those times, like we brought him home, and I'll probably save that stuff for a different pod or different entry. But it was like, this was when it kind of got hectic. This is when, and don't mind me, this is when this is when things got a little crazy. So like I said, we had just got together, married as far as the year prior. So you put it all together. We move in, we get married, get pregnant, sign a mortgage to a house, COVID, newborn baby. All within 14 months, 15 months, year and a half, already in a year and a half. And so we're still learning each other. We were still, trying to adjust to one another, live with each other as far as arrangements, as far as just temperaments, as far as behaviors. And so you bring in a new kid, now you got to learn the new kid. You got to start parenting. You got to start doing this together, collaborating together, do this, do that, blah, 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 blah. We got a new house. We're trying to be new homeowners, trying to make sure to do this right, do that right, do that right. Who got this one? Who got that one? We're managing COVID. We're managing me have to go in the office, her staying at home with her home office. And again, just that. And that right there, it just tells you the type of turmoil that could be created upon each other. as far as what stresses were there. If that makes sense. It was hard. It was tough. It was no shy of any type of probably your worst arguments. Like again, we're talking about times when it's like we're literally I wake up, she's right there. Clock into work, but she's right there. I would go into another room, she's right there because she's working from home. Of course, she wants to be a part of his life too. She wants to spend time with him too. But it's just like for the fact, it's like, yo, go work. I got him now, but understands the fact, like when I leave, you gotta get him. She wouldn't have said clocked out at 2 something. She still had maybe another hour and some change. But it's like I have to go to work too. I gotta make sure that I make ends meet so I can provide for him just as much. And so like it was just those moments, of course. So it was just a lot going on. Like it was very very hard to deal with it, and still learn, still adjust. Like I said, like COVID was not it was no joke to do that stuff. It was no joke, you know, because with it it also took away certain avenues. And as you hear my son now, but either way, we're getting there. But it took a lot out of us, and then like, before he was even 1, we were looking to split. What's up, son? I'm talking to Daddy. I'm talking to Mommy. I'm talking to Mommy. Yeah. You talking to Mommy? Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't want to be your buddy. Go talk to your mom. Why? Because you know Dad's recording. I want to talk with you. I told you to, but then you got to give the phone to Mommy then. You gotta call Mommy back. So you call her right back. You ain't tell her. Jerk. And so, what you doing? Mommy. No. If you go in here to record, you go in here to record. Which one you want to do? Tablet. All right, then you got to take the tablet. You got to turn it down. Why? Because I can't hear it, but you can shut the door. You hear me? Door. Uncle? No, you can shut the door. You want to come in here, you can shut the door. And there he goes. But either way, so it led up to the demise of the relationship. So this is when the split happened, and this is when everything started getting real rocky. Because we never dreamed of having a 2-parent home. We never dreamed of being co-parents. Our dream was to be a solid unit. Of course, both of us coming from single-parent homes. Both of us coming from dads not necessarily being around. Both of us coming from other relationships. You know what I mean? So like, there were points in like it was just hectic, and it was like it wasn't going to be fair to him to raise him in that environment. And that was my biggest goal. That was my biggest, that was my priority. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. I did not want to raise him in what I considered to be toxic. And that's not to say her. That's not to say me. That's definitely both of us. Because neither one of us helped the matter, helped the problem. Neither one of us wanted to hear each other out. Neither one of us wanted to come up with a solution. I especially didn't, with certain circumstances. So it was definitely hard, definitely just trying. It was definitely scary to literally go forth with this. It was also, I did not want to raise him like how I was kind of raised and make him have moments in which I was accustomed to. I wanted to give him total opposite. I wanted him to know who his dad was. I wanted him to know that I'd fight for him and for everything, and that I was never going anywhere. I didn't want to argue in front of his mom. I didn't like doing so. I don't want him to have those memories as far as us fighting and everything like that. And so because that's literally what I have. You know what I mean? That those traumatic events, is like they carry on. Like, you know what I mean? They say stuff comes full circle, stuff always repeats itself. I would be damned if I happened for my kid. And so I never try to argue for my kid. If I ever argued in front of my kid, I'd cry right afterwards. Now I'd say sorry to him as if he knew what the hell was going on. Mind you, he wasn't even one. Wasn't even 1 year old when stuff like that would happen. But I couldn't bear to live with that inside of me, or live with the fact that it happened and just brush it over. Couldn't and wouldn't. Couldn't and wouldn't. And so it was just some of the scariest stuff. And like of course, the splits wound up turning into court cases, and court cases led to more tension, more angry people. You know what I mean? It was a trying time, some dark ass times that nobody is a fan of, that nobody wants to deal with, that nobody should have to deal with, and especially as an active parent. Granted, she had her reasons. She had her whispers. She had her intentions, and I say this wholeheartedly, it was probably the most trying times to be fighting attorneys, arguing with attorneys, proving yourself innocent with attorneys to a judge as an active dad, being kind of pictured as a non-active dad. And it should never be like that. If you literally know the parent is doing everything they can do, you know what I mean? They've done nothing wrong ever, and you've seen it, you know. Never try to paint the picture as if they don't do anything. Active dads out there, and I'm an advocate for it. Active dads should not be on a judicial payroll. Let's just say that. Being nice about it. They should not be on a legal contractual payroll. If you know, you know. We should not be on that, because the fact that it's like we literally strive and do everything we can do. The notions of that literally come from a bitter heart. I say it lightly, but again, during those times, it definitely was. It came off like it was just anger, like it was just bitterness coming out, pouring through the pores, and it was the only way to really affect the pocket, or affect any movement, any emotion that you ever wanted to have. You know, it sucked. It sucked to literally have to go back and forth to the courthouse to file paperwork, to, you know what I mean, submit documents. Like, it's not fun. And it's literally like, you look at those non-active dads, some of the non-active dads out there, I wish you were more active, but it's like, you know, those non-active dads sometimes go scot-free. And it's like they don't have to pay the consequences. You know, they should be paying. They should be literally binded legally by what, you know what I'm saying, like, for not doing what I'm doing. Because like I said, I'm literally providing. I'm literally supporting. I'm literally doing what I can, interactively trying to do stuff with my child. And it's like that option was literally trying to be like stripped away from me. It was literally trying to be it was like the only thing that could affect me. And it's like the moment it affected me, they knew it would break me. Because in a way, I cared about my son more than I cared about his mom during those times. I prioritized my love and everything I had once had for his mother. Not saying that, like, into my son, nothing like that, nothing like that. Like I would never, okay, no did, no stuff like that. But it was just like so fast, like all the energy that I had for his mother and stuff like that, I put it toward being a dad. Being a dad was like one of the biggest dreams I've ever had in my life. Sans the reason why, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm so passionate, like the reason why I'm so, you know what I'm saying? I'm so for my kid, you know, like I literally want my kid around me a lot. Like you see him just now, he wanted to record, but I'm like, bro, well, you gotta put certain things around me. Like, what you want to do, bro? You want to record? You want to do that? Like, but my kid's he's always gonna be around. Like, you know what I mean? I don't care if it's, you know, not my necessary scheduled day to have him. Like, I'll take him. You know what I mean? If you stressed out, you burnt out, I will take him. That's the reality of now. And so it's just like, nah, my kid is never my burden, and I never treat him as my burden. And so those that do not take care of their kids, of course, are consequences should be there for you. They should not be in stone for me. They should not be set in stone for me. For dads like me, I shouldn't be penalized or categorized with those that don't do shit for their kid. But I am. But it's okay. Because at the end of the day, I'm a dad. At the end of the day, I understand it. At the end of the day, it's for certain reasons. It's for that, and it's like there's an understanding. That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, it's like I don't necessarily stress too much about it anymore as much as I did. But Lord knows when I did not want to hear shit. You couldn't tell me a fucking thing. Because during those times, dark thoughts started coming back. During those times, I became very jaded. I became very selfish. I became very, very, I wouldn't say victimized, but I was definitely, you know what I'm saying? I was close to being broken. You know, as a parent, it's like the one thing you yearn to do is to see your child smile, is to just hold your kid, is to just interact with your kid. Especially I'm getting active dads. Like again, literally all I wanted. I had to fight for it. You know, some parents will be like, some moms will be like, well, go ahead, take a kid so they can go out. Total opposite here. Total opposite. And again, it's no ill will, no ill intent. Just speaking on truth. It's like, you know, just admitting and just sharing the reality in which I lived. And so, you know, it's just like it's the purpose and point, you know. And it literally it took a lot. It took a lot. And it was just scary. And it took years. It took years of bullshit to kind of get through and see points, you know. Um, the one things I want my son to always know is to always understand that mommy and daddy literally fought in their best ways to do what they felt was best for him, you know. Of course, during that time, she did what she felt like she needed to do. I did what I needed to do. Granted, it might not necessarily work for either one of us. Like one might have got the short end of the stick, the other one might probably been fine. But during those times, it was just hectic, and but at the end of the day, what we do now, what we teach now, is literally for him to know that there was a time when mommy and daddy lived together. There was a time when mommy and daddy had pictures. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And it's like, you know what I mean? We share that stuff just to show him solidarity. We share that so to show Because of course when he gets older he's probably gonna ask these questions. My son's smart as fuck, so it's like he remembers shit, he knows shit, like you can't tell him shit, like he's just smart as shit. You tell him, ask him certain dinosaurs, that motherfucker tell you every fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he'll break it down to you, and like so therefore my son is literally a monster every fucking day, and I love it. My son he's a sponge, so it's like I said, you can't tell him shit that he already knows. My son's impressionable. My son is sweet. He is a caring, loving child, and that's what we teach him. Um, Regardless of anything that we had ever gone through, the one thing I stood 10 toes down was that you could never say I'm bad. I'll never allow you to say I'm a bad dad, because I know for a fact you're not a bad mom. And that's the thing. It's like there have been moments and times. It's like I literally talked to him, and I would literally like I'll break down. I'll explain something to him. Boy, don't know shit the fuck I'm talking about. He don't care what I'm talking about. As a 4-year-old, like you like, well, I want chicken nuggets, brown noodles, as he says. My son is literally that dude. You know what I mean? He's a heartbreak kid. You might sit there and think that he's out here, he's loving you and all that stuff. The motherfucker might not like you right now. You know what I'm saying? Well, daddy, I want you to do this. If you don't do this, yeah, his little mood changes. Again, that's a Gemini. Of course, you get two sides of the pod. And so that is just like, but either way, it's definitely, it's tough. It's tough. Things get hard. Life gets dark. Life gets treacherous. Events, you don't know when they're going to happen. But I remain here today. I remain solid. I remain able to speak and articulate these stories, these diary entries to you wholeheartedly because of him. Because of him. And without him, none of this would be true. None of this would be, no, not even say true. None of this would be available. None of this would be a reality. What I say to everybody is you got to find your purpose in life. Whether it's to play sports, whether it's to teach, whether it's to, be a business owner, all that stuff. Find your purpose in life. Find what you're good at and stick to it. Find what you do. Find the importance of what you have amongst somebody else, and always remember it. Don't let nobody ever tell you the simple fact that you can't and you're not good enough, especially as a parent. You might be able to do more. Everybody can do more as a parent. But understand the fact that it's like your child loves you for you. Your child would never trade you in. Your child would never, that, like, of course they're going to have moments in a period where they say they hate you, they hate the world, blah, 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 we all do. But they'll never not appreciate what you do for them in the long run. If you give out your efforts, if you remain solid with your purpose as far as when you create life. You do that, there's no problem. You share that, there's no problem. I wrote a letter to my son, and I'm gonna probably close out after that. And it's, Dear Rian, I want you to know that when you hear these things, that they aren't to diminish nor destroy your thoughts on me or your mommy. I want you to understand that these thoughts were prevalent in a certain time in which, what's up? It did? Uh-huh. Okay. It's in the bathroom. It's in the bathroom? Okay. You gonna charge it later? Uh-huh. Who's your best friend?
Daddy.
Who's Daddy's best friend?
Me.
What's your name?
Ryan.
Ryan what?
Ryan puts for cold.
How old are you?
4.
When's your birthday?
6.
What's my name?
Daddy.
What's Daddy's name?
Daddy.
You know what's Daddy's real name?
Dad, Matt Cole.
Matt what? What's my real name?
Matt with Christopher.
How much you love me? How much Daddy love you? Daddy love that much? How much you love Daddy? Y'all go get the letter later. I ain't gonna do it now because I ain't about to get emotional. I'll post it. Chill out. Chill out. No, we got long.
I want another color.
No, not yet. Daddy's still recording.
I want another color.
But Daddy's recording.
Why?
Because? And guess what I'm talking about?
What?
Guess who I'm talking about?
Who?
You.
Why?
Because I love you.
Why?
Alright.
Why are you talking about me?
Because I love you, child.
Why are you calling about me?
Because
Yes,
I can. Because I can. Can I get a kiss? Give me a kissy.
No.
Give me one.
No.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
No.
Alright, no you done.
Okay.
Alright, y'all. I'll see you next episode.